Knoxville, Tennessee. We're the red panda capital of the world. More red pandas are born here than anywhere else. And now, you can be a red panda too.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Soccer Talk. We're talking one Knoxville soccer. First of all, Greg, welcome back.
Oh, glad to be here. Great vacation.
Great to have you back. We're also joined by Callum Johnson, midfielder with One Knox. Great to have you here, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you just saw the video that was posted online. We talked about this a little bit last week, but the team unveiling its third kit, and here's a look at it. Callum's got it on. This is a good-looking uni. I mean, out of the gate, what do you think? First impressions.
I mean, I like it. I think a lot of the guys were struggling to keep this one a secret because we knew about it a few months ago and we were all desperate to share it. But we did a good job, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, it looks good.
Absolutely. It's One Knox has had a really unique visual brand, like really since they started in League One and now into this second season. Do you guys have like a favorite kit, or you guys play favorites a little bit?
Well, last year I definitely liked the third kit, the Marble City.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think we do really well with our third kits because I think a lot of the guys like this one.
I know at the end of the day, the game is the game, right? You go out and you play the game. But it always seems like I don't care what age you are, because we even see it in college, we see it in the pros for different sports. You bring out a different kit, a different uniform, a different cap, a different helmet, whatever your sport is. It just seems to energize everybody. Do you get that feeling? I mean, there's just something about a different look.
Yeah, I mean, the cliches look good, feel good, play good.
I was just about to say, yeah.
And in some cases, pay good, but talk to the owner about that.
That's
one.
right. Well, it looks good. And I don't know if I've ever seen a kit, or at least a jersey, that has something on the inside, as you saw in the video there. We're not going to ask you to pull it up over your head, but hopefully we'll see a lot of that coming up this weekend with some goals. But that's something a little different.
Yeah, this is the first time I've had something on the inside of our kit. And like you said, it gets revealed when we score goals. So it's pressure, but also, something exciting to look forward to if you do score.
Definitely. Yeah, if any of the viewers hadn't seen, this one obviously pays tribute to the Zoo Knoxville's really prolific red panda conservation program.
Yep.
More red pandas born at Zoo Knoxville than any other zoo in the world. And it really just kind of is another instance of the club really has a strong, community emphasis, whether that's, in the inspirations for the jersey or some of the youth club. And I'm just curious about how you've experienced kind of the Knoxville community, Callum. I know the players are always, pitch side after the game, taking pictures and autographs and kids and things of that nature. How have you experienced that, and what really stands out to you about the Knoxville community?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a fan base that's so closely connected with the team and the city before. And you feel that presence after the games, before the games, at tailgates. A few of them will, connect with you on Instagram, and I think we're all receptive to, talking back and being welcoming to them, because without their support, we're just another club. And I think that's what makes One Knoxville different is our fan base.
Really connecting with that fan base, that is for sure. I know you guys see that. We see that after the games, and I'm sure you get all kinds of, whether it's suggestions and critiques and good and bad, and everybody thinks they're an expert. But at the same token, just know that they're there. Regardless, I know it has to help you guys when you look up in the stands to see, especially a lot of familiar faces that keep coming back game after game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that gives you the sense that you're doing something right. The
Yeah.
club's doing something right if you've got returning fans. And it's always, such a good feeling to know they're there through the wins and the losses. Good weather and the bad weather, year after year.
We've had our good and bad weather, that is for sure. That is for sure. You've bounced around. I mean, you've kind of come up through the ranks. Greg and I were talking about this before we went on. You've been with the Red Bull organization. You obviously Galaxy 2, Clemson,
National champion.
National champion. Some prominent, well-known organizations as you've kind of been coming up. Your thoughts on coming up through there? You've really played for some. I guess when you mention Galaxy, people know the organization. Red Bull, they know the organization. Clemson, obviously follow college soccer. You know this program. What's that been like for you coming up through all those?
Yeah, it's good. It's been pressure at times. Like you said, they're all pretty historic organizations. Clemson at the college level,
Sure.
Galaxy and Red Bulls at the MLS level. But I think it gives me something to aspire to at One Knox is can we become one of those historic organizations in 5, 10, 20 years' time?
Just kind of curiosity, coming from England, and getting a look at the American landscape. Obviously, the sport has come an incredibly long way in popularity. But just kind of your thought, the quality of play, what you're seeing here at different levels, as someone who probably grew up with it, kind of how we, as younger kids, grew up with baseball and football. Now our kids are growing up with soccer or football. But your thought on just the American landscape right now for the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed in the last 10, 15 years that I've been growing up. I grew up mainly in Manhattan, New York City, and to be honest, there's not a whole lot of sport going on there in general. But I played at the youth level there, and it's growing tremendously there. You see that with the infrastructure. Public fields are growing. And then across the country, look at the expansion of USL 1. Yeah. How many new teams are entering next season? I think 5, 6. So it's exciting, really exciting. Yeah,
we've been talking about that too, the expansion for next season and even several years down the road.
Absolutely, yeah. If you haven't been following some other episodes, I think as it stands right now, I think we have as many as 7 teams coming in next season, whether that's Portland, Antelope Valley, what else do we have? Naples, Westchester, New York. Do you allow yourself to think about or look ahead, or how do you kind of gauge, how have you experienced the league kind of grow in this short time that One Knox has been in it?
I think coming off 2 away trips just recently, we're looking at, that's another place we got to fly, which is exciting because it's new fields, new fans, but maybe a little bit tiring. But overall, I think it's awesome. You get to travel the country. And experience new places. Another
new thing this season is obviously this first ever in-season cup, which has been a unique, interesting thing to watch get off the ground. How has you've experienced that as a player? Does it have a different feel from league play, or do you guys approach it a little bit differently from a game state perspective?
Honestly, doesn't have a different feel internally. It's you're trying to get the same thing done, which is win, get 3 points. Obviously, it is different rules-wise. It can't end in a tie, go straight to penalties after 90 minutes. But I think that's not something you really think about when you're playing it. I'm going to penalties next. It's just, no, how can we score? How can we stop them from scoring?
Switch back to the regular season now. You guys have gotten off to a great start, near the top of the table, been there the entire season. Just kind of talk about the chemistry, what's different heading into this season. It seems like things just seem to be clicking.
No, it's different. We obviously brought back a core group of players who understand the coach's wants and how he wants to play, and at the same time we've brought in emerging talent, from all over. So we've got Nshuti from Rwanda, Kempis from Germany. So we've recruited really well and added to already a strong core.
Yeah, I mean, it is impressive to watch. You mentioned Kempis. I have to mention, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago in the box?
The Richmond, the volley.
He juggled coming in, and I'm going, that's why, back in our youth, we were always taught how to juggle. That's where you put it in the game. Because he sat there and just kept watching and going, did I just see that happen? But there's a lot of talent on this team. You obviously are part of that as well. And when you put it all together, again, as we mentioned, just really seems to be working well right now.
Yeah, a lot of depth, a lot of talent, and that coupled with hard work is always going to be a good recipe.
You talked about this core group, and there's definitely an aspect of that in that midfield core with you and Angelo Kelly, Jessen Vanderploem back once again, and this year you've seen the addition of Charlie Matchell in that group as well, and Sievert playing in there here and there. I'm just curious as what would you say that Mark McKeever asks of that midfield group, and how do you guys kind of come together to achieve that goal?
I would say it in a Scottish accent if I could, but cover the ground. So by that he means, run. If you can't press, then we're not going to win the ball in high places and be able to score goals. So that's the main thing he's looking for is first, can you run the distance? Can you give it your all for the guys next to you? And if you get tired, hand up, sub comes on, and we have a lot of depth this year, which helps with that.
Yeah. I mean, you really see it too from those outside backs. I mean, I know we've talked about it, and how many times do I see Stuart Ritchie on the offensive end, crossing the ball, and then he's having to to get back. But those outside backs really pushing up when they can, just to add that extra attacker. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it makes all the difference. If you've got one more number in the attack, then it's another number in the box, and makes all the difference. But I couldn't do what they do because it feels like every time I look over, they're sprinting. Yeah. Sometimes center midfield, you get a little bit of a jog, catch your breath. Not those guys. So.
See, growing up, I always thought the midfielders were always doing all the running. Like, I can't play that position, but yeah, it has really the game has evolved where now, if you're back on defense, that's not your sole purpose. You are actually trying to keep the ball up, continue to add to that attack. It's just another element that's been added to the game. So it's fun to watch.
Yeah, fun to play.
And that group, that defensive group behind you guys has just really been a very, steady group. And with, Sean Kelly in goal has been, one of the best in League One since the start of this team. How much confidence does it give you guys, in the midfield and up front when you have, such a solidified, experienced group behind you?
Yeah, no, that you said it there. It's if the defense is right, it's a base you can build off of. We've added Sievert there, who's physical presence. He's athletic, calm on the ball, so he makes a big difference to us. And these are experienced players that have played professionally, so you never really have a doubt with those guys.
Yeah, and obviously for you guys, like you said, if you know it's being taken care of behind you, you can focus on what's going forward, right?
Exactly.
So we've got a big month ahead for this team.
Yeah.
I believe 5 matches in the month of June, 4 of those at home. What's it like to have a nice run of home games? Playing in front of your fans. On one of the best surfaces in the league. How do you approach that and maintain execution across really a busy part of the schedule?
Yeah, well, playing at home it frees you up travel-wise. You can settle into your own routine, eat when you want to eat, get good sleep, and it's a little bit less pressure in that you don't have to worry about, obviously you want to perform for the fans. That's the most pressure you can have, but you don't have to worry about the travel, and that's the biggest difference. So.
Especially you going all the way to the West Coast like you just did, and then to the upper Midwest. That's a lot of miles. And and you're talking, in some cases it's a 3-hour time difference, 2 hours, what have you. You've got to adjust to the time change as well. So I'm sure that takes a toll. Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to getting out there and playing in front of our fans again.
Hey, we had first let me bring this up because since you popped this up here, Greg, you got Richmond coming up. We were also wondering too. You got Lexington coming up again here. We've seen, it's a team we've seen. It's a team that we all get excited about as the fans. That and Chattanooga, because it's either north up 75 or south, down 75. Is that registering now? I mean, I know this is still a young team, but these are our rivalry games. I mean, does that sink in somewhere? I know it's still a new franchise, but can you feel that intensity?
Definitely. We talked about it last year, first game of the season. This is going to be our rivalry. But when someone says it, maybe you don't feel it as much. But we've played them enough times now that we feel like, okay, we want to beat these guys. Yeah. And on top of that, we took their captain, Charlie Manchel. So that adds a little bit more fuel to the fire every time we play them.
So it's like that when you see someone putting on a different kit. It does always seem to add, whichever level, whichever sport, it always has that little extra bit of intensity to the game. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it's another storyline there to take a look at. Again, though, as Greg was mentioning, it's great to have you guys back home. It's got to feel good. Drew McKinnon was here one time. We were talking to him, and he was talking about the Regal, the stadium, the pitch, and then how a lot of teams come in and just comment, and they're like, "This is what you play on." I mean, have you guys have played a number of road games. You've been with this team now for a little bit. I mean, do you kind of get that sense even I mean, that's your home, but when you come back and thinking, oh my gosh, I mean, this is compared to some of the other, not to downplay anybody. I'm sure that they're working hard, but this is one of the better setups as far as the league is concerned on places to play.
Yeah, we're incredibly fortunate about Regal being our home field, and we know that. We remind ourselves of that. Obviously, with that, we need to perform. If that's our home field, we need to be the ones winning there. But yeah, the groundsmen do such a good job there, maintaining it all year round, and we're so thankful for that.
Yeah, it does. It looks good on TV too.
Good.
Yeah.
Speaking of television, don't forget we got the Richmond match this Saturday at 7 o'clock, Regal Soccer Stadium. That is available on channel 6.2 Antenna TV, and
yeah, we're looking forward to having that. I mean, we're that's why we partner with these guys. It's going to be fantastic. It just gives you another option. If you can't make it down to the game, you can watch it on television at home. But if you can make it down, go down, watch and play Richmond. Of course, you can go to the One Knox website to get those tickets. And when you go to the game, you can get one of these. Not Callum, but the jersey. You can grab yourself one of these jerseys, which I think are going to be tough to get a hold of once they go on. Once you get to the stadium, that's going to be a hot ticket to pick up.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Absolutely. And like we said, it's the summer of soccer. There is a game at home all but one weekend in June, the weekend of the 15th and 16th. They're going to be on the road at Northern Colorado. But besides that, next couple of weeks, we're going to have a lot of exciting matches coming up at Regal Soccer Stadium. So I would just encourage everyone, there's really nothing like seeing it live and in person. So I would encourage everyone to do that if they can.
Especially when you get the Scruffy City crew and they're all and banging the drums and having a good time. So the atmosphere is fantastic. Callum, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thanks for
This
having
is
me.
probably a time where you probably should be sitting home, relaxing, putting your feet up.
No,
We
this is
appreciate you
good.
coming
Gets
in.
me out the house.
There you go. There you go. Sounds good. Hey, thanks for watching. We do this, of course, every Thursday. We'll be talking more One Knox coming up for you next week as well. But have yourself a great time. And again, go support the guys coming up this Saturday.